And if you're doing the hooping and hollering prayers and things like that, some people get up, oh, praise the Lord, hoop and holler, bless my mama, bless my daddy. Continue to do it. Do both. You will see if you want to stay with the hooping and hollering, or do you want to be still and know God. So my gift to you, no charge, at rebuildingtheman.com/church.
Like my cousin, sent me you, and I thank him for that. It was more of a, he thinks the whole everything's a joke. That just adds a little spice to it. But in the heart of what you're saying, there is real things going on. And people want to overlook that. And I'm telling you, Mr. Peterson, I'm not one of those people. And I thank God that, he showed you to me. And sometimes we just need some Jesse in our lives, I guess.
I wish we had more brothers like you. We need more brothers like you. Because we don't have most guys that can, lead black people into the right direction. And I thank you for that, because a lot of people will be like, man, it's still going on. It's racism. Yeah. And I try to tell them, watch his show. Listen to this brother. He's telling the truth.
Take no thought about tomorrow. Yesterday doesn't exist. And you're going to see, man, God is with us and all is well. Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. He's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room,
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border, and then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on America's soil. So he became the anchor baby. You don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate that. How you doing, folks? Coming in from Joel's chat over there. Appreciate that. Did Nick have too many chalupas? You guys got the jokes in the chat today. You're wondering, where's Daddy? Is Daddy home? Is he on the way home? How can someone who calls himself a baby be a daddy? We got the jokes in the chat. Daddy's home. I appreciate you all being here. He's almost home. Appreciate that, folks. We're about to get rolling here. In fact, I even see calls already. Oh, never mind. They're calling Jesse. But look, you could call me too. 888-775-3773. You can call the Anchor Baby here, your host. You know, you guys got the jokes in the chat. I got some jokes for you. I got something for you here. But appreciate that. 888-775-3773. You could jump on the air and talk with the Anchor Baby. I'm live on Rumble, rumble.com/American Anchor Baby, dlive.tv/Gorgonzola. Just saying hello to the folks. They're rolling in from Joel's chat. Okay. I do appreciate it. I got jokes for you. We're all joking it up, yucking it up on a Thursday. Happy Thursday. What's up, Jessica? Welcome. Thank you for that. DNK, right on. Rome, Jeremy, Kale. What's up, CSAL? You know, I got to think, I really got to thank somebody. I don't know who this nameless benefactor is, but I got to thank them. Quite grateful. You know, I come into the office, I sit down on my desk, and there's this envelope on my desk. It just says Nick, N-I-C-K. No, wish you could see the writing too. N-I-C-K, almost scrawled on. Maybe the person was in a hurry. Maybe the person was trying to get this envelope to me under duress, understanding both the importance and the controversy of what is within this envelope. I open it. It's taped. Almost hastily, yet maintaining an almost sense of mystery and authority. I open the envelope, and in it is a gold card signed by an important person. Read it and weep. Read it and weep, boys. That says N-word pass. It says N-word pass. It's in gold. It's signed by Barack Obama. I'm telling you, this is a true story. I come to my desk, and on my desk there's an envelope. And everyone's saying, I don't know where that came from. No one knows. No one could tell me where this came from, but there is, in fact, an N-word pass within this very envelope. Trump left it for you. So I got to thank my nameless benefactor. Thank you for the N-word pass. I appreciate it. I'll keep it close. I'll make sure to carry it with me. I am in a, you got a carry state in California. You got to be carrying these to prove that you are licensed, okay? You know, there's a lot of regulations with these things. And I get it. Some people want me to use it, right? Try out my new Lamborghini. Want me to stretch my legs, have a little fun, use my brand spanking new N-word pass. But, you know, there's all sorts of regulations nowadays, you know, state bylaws and all that. You got to get a pass for your pass. So I'm going to chill. But I appreciate it. Thank you, nameless benefactor. I'll put it away. Well, I don't know if it's nameless. You know, it's signed Barack Obama, but it's a mystery how this all came down. I appreciate that, though. You know, I'll make sure to get all my P's and Q's and get all the regulatory bodies all happy and kosher and capiche with my N-word pass. You know, I stay G'd up. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that I stay G'd up. Gliznatch. Okay, glizzoid. Glizzaboo. How offensive can the G word get? Okay. Appreciate it, folks. Pick a lane, Nit. Are you white or black? Well, you know what? They say I'm the blackest one, but yet I have an N-word pass. So if I was black, would I need it? I don't know. Maybe this is proof I'm not. There you go. Go loiter at the corner store, see if it works. Dang, Ivana. What's up, cuz? You know me. I say N-word and G-word passes for all American citizens. so that we may preserve the union. You know where I'm at with this. You know where I stand. I say there's something Biden can do today. 💐💐 is the most offensive thing I've ever heard. Thank you, Carver, for the super chat. I appreciate that. We're not trying to offend any glizzes out there, but I'm one of y'all, so don't get mad at me. Get mad at the history. Get mad at the oppression, okay? 400 years of glizz. Okay, enough. Appreciate it. We're yucking it up. We're having fun. They're saying, I was saying that if there's one thing Biden could do today, they talk about racial cohesion. They talk about love thy neighbor. He's a Catholic. He could decree it by executive order. N-word passes for all people, so that you can't have one American citizen telling another American citizen using words to control another American citizen. That's so un-American. So I'm saying we could preserve the union. I know it's a liberal order, the tapestry. It's a melting pot. They want the melting pot to work, right? It's like they don't even want the melting pot to work. They almost agree with these people who say, well, yeah, that's racist. You can't say that. Don't you know about the history, the oppression? That's a special word. It's a special kind of evil. Yeah, be careful with that. There's a lot of people going around saying that that's this or that is a special kind of evil, an elevated form of evil. And those people are blind. If you think that there's an elevated form of evil, if you think there's something that someone is doing is worse type of evil than anything inside of you, then you're blind. You don't know anything. Okay. If you right, this fits with this. Okay, if you think that someone is a special kind of evil because they use a word, then you're blind. You're not a Christian. You got problems, okay? You got anger. Tell me something I don't know. N-word passes for all. It would save the union. I got to show you something here. I got to show you something a little silly. Because this is like a grown male, pastor. What's a prelate? Prelate? You mean you're a prelate? Sorry, I have my prelate. I know I'm probably silly and ignorant. This is probably a normal word that everybody knows. But this person, and it doesn't help, okay? I'm not racist. Okay, you're racist. And just look, Bishop Talbert Swan, I'm talking about Bishop Talbert Swan. He's a black individual, okay? Maybe even a black man. Pastor, prelate, man, don't be telling people you're prelate, man. They already say, don't you know that they already say there's already horrible, racist, bigoted thoughts that people have about black people? Don't just tell them you're prelate. Like, anyways, activist, author, radio host. Oh, prelate. It's a bishop or other high ecclesiastical dignitary. Okay, this is a man of the cloth. Is that what I'm understanding here? He's a chaplain, NAACP president. I feel like there's some oxymorons going on over here. Now, maybe I'm a judgmental person, but I feel like some of these don't fit together. NAACP president, pastor. It's like, pastor of what? Christian? Doesn't sound like it. NAACP. Isn't that just a group of people who justify anger? Bishop Talbert Swan. So I'm talking about him because he would not be happy with any talk of such N-word passes and all this. Okay? What's up, everybody? He wouldn't be happy with all this N-word talk. He's quite unhappy about it. I was made aware of some news here. Well, I don't know about news, but a post made by this very same Bishop Talbert Swan. He was on the JLP show. Maybe a radio show. I believe it was the radio show. But thank you, Stu Club, over there on Twitter. Stu Club, with a little tweet. Thank you for that. Writes, what the Uncle Jesse, JLP Talk, is this true? Tags the Hake Report. Gorgonzola and Joel Friday, you know that they have Twitter accounts. You could follow Joel Friday TV. You could follow, look at that. Trying to crack the code, Joel Friday TV. The Hake Report with his looking like a soy boy. I'm trying to do what's his name? What's that English guy? Come on, guys, help me out. Watson, not Watson. He's always like imagine my shock. Anyways, yeah, you can follow them on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter, Gorgonzola. We got a nice little tag here. Thank you for that. And he tagged us in this little post, little tweet by Bishop Talbert Swan. Glossary of 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎. By the way, hey, thank you, Bishop Talbert Swan. Whenever I need to, I wonder, do you think he's circumventing any sort of censorship here? White people instead of writing white people? Maybe I should adopt that. White people. Because that's what that is, right? White people, terms and their meanings. So he's deciphering the code. He's cracking the code of white people language, according to him. Thug equals N-word. I know I have the pass. I should be free even without a pass. Okay, even without a pass. The fact, as you can see, if you're only listening, I'm highlighting this man's tweet where he writes the N-word over and over again. So even if you didn't have a pass, I'm just writing what someone else wrote. I should be allowed. Right, YouTube? Get back to me on that one, YouTube. Thanks. Thug equals N-word. Inner city equals N-word. Law and order equals N-word. Welfare queen. You people, that's N-word. We know what you mean. Personal responsibility. What do you mean? But you want someone to have personal responsibility? You're just calling him an N-word, aren't you? Might as well. Why don't you just call him N-word? Handout, socialism, Marxist. Affirmative action, Chicago, urban. Chicago? Oh, when you're talking about Chicago, I know what you really mean. Critical race theory, woke, diversity, equity, inclusion. The bishop is ticked. The good bishop. The good bishop. This is why blacks have hypertension. You know what I mean? They say they have hypertension. They say they got health issues, and then they tell you it's because of racism, economics things. I think it's way simpler, more fundamental. It's anger, the stress of living your daily life like this. As they say, a victim. But whoa, that's just the N-word, according to Bishop Talbert Swan. Victim mentality, it's another N-word for you. Race baiters. Un-American. That's not very American. I don't know. That's not very American. Low IQ. Should have complied. He adds this one. He adds this one at the end. Should have complied. What? Wait a second. This is the good bishop, the good Christian bishop, good for the black people. See here this picture of his banner where that's a pulpit and all these black people are, and some white people are, you know, there's some diversity here. Bowing their heads looks like it. This is the good bishop and his good congregation. He's going to tell them that should have complied is just racism. So, you know, maybe he doesn't know. Maybe he doesn't know. And he's not evil. He's just dumb. Brainwashed. But that's this statement right here, Bishop Talbert Swan equals more dead black people. That's what you get out of this. That's what you get out of that. Should have complied. What's the other option, Bishop Talbert Swan? Tell me what's the other option. You know what? Maybe I'm not giving him enough grace here. Maybe Bishop Talbert Swan means, maybe he believes that the response to should have complied is, you know what? Fight it in the courts and use every legal recourse. Right? That's what he means. He means when he's saying should have complied, implying that you shouldn't comply. He means, no, comply with the officer at that very moment, But if you believe that you've been, if your rights were were violated and the officer acted in an unlawful way, then don't comply in that way and go through the legal That's what he means, right? It's pretty evil. So anyways, he's saying those are all just N-word stuff. Everyone's in the comments. Oh, you grifter. Whatever. Oh, what's that? I've never heard that before. Chirp ignorer. Wow, that's just a little too far. Whoever this frog, frog pictured individual is, I don't know, man. That's a little too far. But I was trying to, I was looking for a specific one. Yeah, it was someone saying, victim. And he responded, victim equals N-word. Well, I guess he said it up here, right? So we got him. We got him already. We got him, boys. We already got him saying it. Victim equals, that's just N-word. There's just no love. So little love. Just trying to point that out, really. And why N-word passes for all American citizens would preserve the Union. How can a word control you? How can you even let that happen? And as a bishop, a Christian man, tell people and even halfway imply that, and not reveal that truth and bust it wide open. I mean about the truth, folks. Come on. That's a lie. That a word can't even control you. If you think a word could control you, you're dumb or evil. Either you're, really down in the dumps, in your head, Satan's really got you. Or, either Satan's got you and he's got you there controlling you with words, or you're using the words to control others. Honestly, it's the same. You're still under Satan's thumb. Nick, have you heard any new details about the Chirp video editor? Who the Chirp video editor might be? I'm not sure, Birdie Bow Brian, but I hear that I hear it goes all the way to the top. They're getting all sorts of AI is on it. I'm telling you that right now. AI is on it. They found the Taylor Swift person who made all the Taylor Swift AI images. They got him right away. So it's just a matter of time, whoever this, shall we call him a racist, a bigot, whoever this obvious racist is who's going around editing videos of black people speaking and adding a smoke alarm chirp. It's ridiculous. I see some of you repeating this chirp ignorer slur, and it's not funny. Okay, folks, where are we? Bishop Talbert Swan, he cares about words. He's showing the world this is that he's controlled, that you can control him with words. But in that same way, he's egging on the evil people who would not show grace and instead use words to try and egg him on. You see what I'm trying to say here? Very clunky. Look, what I'm trying to say is that although words shouldn't control you, there are people who will still try and use the N-word, for example, to try and get at Bishop Talbert Swan. And in that, you're kind of, there's space for jokes and, there's free men talking, but at the same time, you got to examine yourself, right? And there were some really interesting moments on the network today. Joel's show and James' show, I forget which one, but there was a lot of talk about, there's some talk about morality and stuff like that. Anyways, look, your heart, if you're being wicked. I think that was on James' show, but it was also on Joel's show. Great episodes today. Joel's show talking about the law there, right? You think you know what right and wrong is instead of actually discovering it in your life and living it. And on James' show, they were talking about something and about saying Christ is king, okay? You say Christ is king. You could say that in an evil way. There's evil people who assume that that's evil, and they're wrong for that. And I know that we're sick of it. We're sick of this, you got to censor your language, and you can't say that. It's diversity now, and that's the Holocaust, and that's all that. And people are tired of that. and they'll say, Christ is king. That's wrong. But there was some space there with that caller or super chatter, I forget. You could say that in an evil way because, or it was a tweet that he was talking about. But you could, in the evil way you could say that is in your inside your heart, your desire, your motivation in saying that. And your motivation could just be to get the rise of another person, to wave a flag, to start war, So you know how you're saying it, right? I thought that was a great point. But why was I bringing that up? I was bringing that up because I was saying something about words controlling you, and they shouldn't. There should be space. You should leave some space for free men talking, but yeah, that's right. I was describing just how you could be evil to Bishop Talbert Swan, as wrong as he is and over the top and just as wrong as he is for letting a word control you, for thinking that there is a special form of evil like racism, therefore allowing you to judge anyone who has this special form of evil and hate. That's all not very Christian, to be fair, Bishop Talbert Swan, I gotta say. It doesn't sound very Christian. But you could be evil towards him in that way, in that thing inside of you. Okay, you get it. How can a word control you? What else? White people terms. It's funny how, though, the ones that get added in, is when you scrutinize this a little bit, why do they got to add stuff like law and order and personal responsibility? It's like cleanliness. What, you want us to keep the neighborhood clean? What are you, just calling us N-words? You just hate black people. Personal honesty. Honesty. Loving thy neighbor. What, you just calling me an N-word? An honest day's work. What, you just... Why do they add those in, though? That's what I don't understand. Anyways, let's move on here. Bishop Talbert Swan. And you can call in 888-775-3773. They're mad about the N-word. Not me, though. I have a pass. But this kind of goes into this. I want to show you something about, they say proximity and diversity is always leads to conflict. It always leads to conflict, they say. Diversity and proximity. People that are different peoples, religions, ethnicities, races, and living close, give them enough time, they'll fight. That's what some people say. And they want us to live in a very diverse world. They're bringing them in by the boatloads. It seems like people don't even want it, too. It seems to me, right? When you look at the polls, and, polls lie and all that, but they all agree that immigration is a top issue for both sides. And it's not one side is saying, let them all in, one side is saying, stop it. No, it's varying degrees of, we don't like this. But it's just that. It's varying degrees of that, of something's got to change, we're not okay with this. All the way, but left and right. With your average voting person, okay? So you got to wonder, what the heck is going on? And this fight continues in Texas. You know about it a little bit. Texas versus the feds. That's not your place to deal with the border. Texas says, well, you're not dealing with the border, so we're going to do it. Well, you're not allowed to do that. It's our job. And it keeps going like that. Supreme Court, the razor wire, and now this appeals court stuff. Appeals court keeps controversial Texas immigration law on hold. It's from CNN. You know about this a little bit, but they're just keeping it on hold. That's the news. this controversial law that allows state officials to arrest and detain people they suspect of entering the country illegally will remain blocked while legal challenges to it play out, Federal Appeals Court said Tuesday. Court said the law known as SB4 will continue to be blocked while the court considers the larger question of whether it violates the U.S. Constitution. And this being who gets to do what. Is it the Fed's job or is it Texas' job? Immigration enforcement is generally a responsibility of the federal government. The court's decision to not allow enforcement of the law caps off a messy few days in which SB4 was caught in legal limbo after the Supreme Court allowed it to go into effect for a short period, only for the appeals court to put it back on hold. Hours later, in the opinion penned by this Chief Judge Priscilla Richmond, says that the law runs afoul of the Constitution, likely, but said a lack of funding coupled with the lack of political will has left a gaping void in the area of immigration that Texas nobly and admirably, some would say, seeks to fill. This judge putting in a little bit of her, her opinion there. I guess judges are allowed to do that, right? In certain situations, kind of like a Catholic priest. You got to read the whole liturgy. You got to stick to the script, but then you get to throw in a little tidbit of when, you told Johnny how Johnny, your life is kind of like Jesus and that donkey. And then you keep with the script. I went to a Catholic thing recently. That's what happened. I have Catholic friends. It's interesting, this whole Texas thing and immigration. The case itself and the fight with the Texas versus the feds, that's obviously interesting. Brings a lot of things into question. Who really wants to deal with this? And how is it that the federal government really does not have the will to protect the borders of its own country? It's existential. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. You got to conclude they want it this way. And the ends are dark. That being said, what's interesting about this, if that's all true, they're bringing them in. No real will to deal with it. Let's keep the most sinister out of it, and it's just simply mama spirit, mama attitudes. You feel bad. So when you feel bad, you make them heroes. If these immigrants, they're coming over, they just want a better life, so you just got to help them. We have so much, and that's quite fundamental, I think, a driving force behind a lot of this. And so let's leave the most sinister out. Let's say it's just that mama spirit. They're letting them in. They feel bad. What's funny about the people who see it at that level, just simply like that, hey, we could just be a big old happy family if we're just not racist. So let them in. They just want a better life. What's funny about the people, at the very least, espousing that worldview and telling us that it's correct to have it in the government or otherwise, they have completely dropped. They want this multicultural society, but they want to get rid of anything that might even make that possible. They've dropped all value to the things that would facilitate such a world. They say proximity, diversity equals conflict. You get different people, diverse peoples coming together. They're going to fight. That makes sense, right? People fight amongst each other already. Families fight, even when people aren't, when people are a little more homogenous. And, you could point to all the different people fighting, okay? You could point to maybe all that. They say there's, the science backs it up. Some say, some might say these science, people that use this science, they call them racists and all that. But I don't know. I call them Scandinavian politicalstudies.com. Trust in a time of increasing diversity on the relationship between ethnic heterogeneity and social trust in Denmark from 1979 until today. I mean, you can look these things up. They say that they have the studies. social trust. What this study is a Scandinavian study on social trust and how ethnic diversity has negatively impacted that. This is aren't these the like socialist Scandinavians that the liberals love? Maybe they don't really point to them anymore, especially since all these 𒒏💄💂💔. I don't know. Ethnic homogeneity and Protestant traditions positively impact individual societal levels of social trust. I mean, these Oxford Journal. I mean, if you're this academic type person, you might be interested in all this. Maybe you read all that, you conclude it's time to separate. It's time to go our own ways. Maybe. I don't have this same judgment against those ethno-nationalist type people that the world and the media has. I don't have the same kind of judgments because they're a little bit more realistic, right? I do have maybe a romantic view of America, which I may be wrong for this. I have this romantic view of the blacks and the whites and their history and their histories being just linked in America from the beginning, and slavery and civil rights and the things that went wrong, but the things that were going right as well. I hear about this. I don't know if this is true or not, but I hear that if it wasn't for the civil rights movement, things might have worked out in certain way, in a certain respect. And I'm saying all this to bring this up, to say this, is that the world is pushing diversity. They want us to have love. Love is love. They're calling it love. But they want to get rid of all the things that would actually allow us to love each other, which is to speak freely, free speech, to speak openly, to disagree, the freedom to disagree, the freedom to separate, the freedom to be apart, and all these things, right? They'll call those things hate, which is a funny thing to call. It's like, what's really more hateful? Is it hateful to say, well, these people who want to be on their own, they're hateful? Or to demonize people, going around demonizing people, saying you can't say certain things, therefore breeding more conspiracy and more hate? Who are really the hateful ones? It seems like the Confederate type, racist type people, who's the guy? What's his name? Who's the guy? And they kept the blacks and the whites apart. They had the different water fountains. Who's the guy? Jim Crow. He's the guy. Maybe he's not a guy. But look, the Jim Crow type people, they call them racists, right? It seems like their mentalities, as racist as it may have seemed, maybe was a little closer, because they call it like, it's like they're telling people that they gotta move on. Okay, Gramps, you're a dinosaur. Your world is over. Okay, it's time to get with the times. It's time to modernize. But it seems like these dinosaurs, the mentality of these dinosaurs, were a little closer to being the type of mentality that would breed at least a semblance of love, at least something closer to love. It's not like it is today. Do you see what I'm trying to say here? The world completely dropped that. The same people pushing it, the same people who are like, you're evil for not doing what we're telling you, won't let you be loving and talk things out and disagree. Yeah. Nick on the glitchy video. Folks, we've got a little bit of this one's so subtle that we may be totally missing it, but we may be buffering just enough that some people are catching it, but we're not catching it. Have I been buffering today? Let me know, chat. But what am I saying here? You guys following here? 888-775-3773. Chat is on fire, apparently. What makes you say that? I haven't even looked at chat. Okay, one for me. Thank you. Okay, so no buffering. They want you to be diverse and you gotta love them, but I can't even be me. Right? You get it. I mean, what else is there to say about this? They say proximity, diversity is bad. Okay, Gramps, you got to get with it, Gramps. You got to get modernized, okay? You're not okay. You're not okay with going viral because you forgot it's Ramadan, okay? And you wanted to pig out and stuff your face with your lunch and offended your neighbors? Too bad, Gramps. That's love. That's the new world. That's actually love now, Gramps. So you got to get with it, okay? Parents segregate siblings who fight. Look at chat, Nick. Okay, what's chat saying? What is chat saying? Wilma! Yeah, chat, appreciate that. Appreciate you being in chat. It helps, you chatting away. When you leave a comment as well, you can leave a comment on the video. Just leave a comment. It's good for the YouTubes. Just leave a comment. Maybe you don't like what you see. Leave a comment as well. Chatting away, it helps. Liking the stream, it helps. Appreciate that. What's up, Mildegru, Oha Sentinel? Over there on Rumble. But yeah, thank you for that. Appreciate the support. It's an easy Thursday. Easy Thursday. You want to hit the subscribe. Carver 531 in the chat talking about ankle baby air. Killing the dinosaurs. I don't know anything about that, Carver. Look, you're going to have to talk to my legal team. And but you know what else? You might want to take a flight. Everybody listening. That's what you don't want to miss tomorrow. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Taking off on a Friday. You don't want to miss the flights. It's going to be fun tomorrow. I got some nice, fun stuff planned for tomorrow. Friday. Kick it off. But yes, 888-775-3773. Chat. This is I like chat. I like catching up with the chat sometimes. Sometimes I'm on a doom scroll. I'm scrolling. I'm thinking to myself that I have the bandwidth. This is what I'm thinking to myself. I'm scrolling the whole chat. I'm thinking that I can understand the whole chat all in one go. I can do this. If I could just read it fast enough, just download the information, I can understand chat all at once. Like Jim Carrey in that movie. Is it Bruce Almighty? Everybody started praying. Started praying to him. It's just too much. Because he was God, right? He was God. And so he just made an email server. That's what it felt like, okay? I started scrolling up and it's just my head. It's just too much. So we're just going to keep it pushing here. Diversity. Amazing stuff. They say they got the receipts. All this diversity, proximity makes me want to talk about war. I've been talking about war this week a little bit. Some updates on the war over there in Gaza. They want me to have an opinion. They want me to say it's a genocide. They want me to call it a genocide. I'm not calling it that. They're calling it that. And I brought up that it was like 2 days ago now, I think. I think it was 2 days ago now. I was showing you that interview with Trump with Israel Hayom. And I believe that interview was conducted in America sometime last week. Fascinating stuff. I thought it was wisdom, strength, individuality. Trump as an individual. I played for you some of the footage a couple of days ago. And, we've had some callers since, and, in this whole thing, I was attempting to point out the emotion, the quick to judge, the snappy armchair judgments that people are prone to in these emotional, quick-paced, dramatic things that are happening in the news, right? And people, and I was just trying to point out kind of these things that people are in that emotion kind of dropping, these fundamental things like definitions of words, those kinds of things, right? And I'm not always the most clear person, maybe, because maybe I don't quite understand the truest nature of evil, and so I can't quite explain it as clear. But I'm trying to point that out. I'm trying to point out how evil is actually quite subtle. Even in a situation like someone who's a PDF file, or even worse, abuses, violates, the youth in that way. That even in that situation, that someone who's looking at that, it can be so clear, like that's evil, but you can miss what evil really is. How actually the people surrounding that situation of the person violating and all that are actually evil, just as evil as well. Very often are just as evil. And so I try and point that out in many situations in life and things that are happening on my show. The subtle evil that can be missed. And and the other point too that kind of was made these past few days is the wisdom of not taking a side when you just don't know, and how the world wants you to, right? To be clear, here's how I see this. If I wasn't clear, I think on some things I'm quite clear, and you just got to back it up. Just back up the footage. Because on some things I think I'm clear. So this is how I kind of see this whole thing. Look, I think the most reasonable reaction to, for example, Israel, this war and all that. If you were an honest person, to be fair, if you were like a impartial as much as you could, and someone really kind of staying out of it as much as you could, I think the average person would sympathize with the desire to remove a violent enemy, especially after an attack like October 7th, okay? That same person would understand the realities of war and that even innocents may die, like collateral damage, they call it. The realities of Israel's domination and force. It's a known fact that for Hamas to fight any war, it has to be like a guerrilla war. That same person who's honest and somewhat impartial would have a certain stomach for this collateral, so to speak. And there would be varying degrees to what different individuals would, I guess, be okay with that. Now, imagine you wanted me to take a side in that. Now, why would you even wish that on me? Like, if you loved your enemies, you wouldn't wish that responsibility on anyone. Because you understand the dynamic, right? You got a violent enemy you got to get rid of. Imagine if we were in that position. American citizens. But at the same time, American citizens would have to be forced, in a sense, to consider how much collateral damage they'd have to stomach, right? These are the realities of war. No one wins. I mean, I guess maybe that's why only men used to vote. Men who could vote, who could have land, who could have children, and who would also fight in a war for that same nation. It's not a little thing. So why would you want to wish that on me? How many dead babies are you okay with, Nick? Well, you know what? If you were a impartial, if you were a floating in the sky in a UFO and as an alien, or if you were a spirit in the ether for the flat earthers, I don't know. Watching the whole thing, you would have to conclude. And then you put yourself in Israel's shoes, for example. You would have to conclude that there is actually a number of dead babies that would be. Understand what I'm saying here? That's not something I want, but there's a number of dead civilians that maybe no one knows, but there's a number. As sure as 2 + 2 = 4, there's a number of dead civilians that would equal the success in this military reality that Israel wants to do. You see what I'm saying here? So imagine you wanted me to take a side on that. That's why I appreciated so much Trump's words in that interview there. That showed, in my opinion, just manly wisdom. You got to get it done, he said. You got to get it done. If that was me, that's what if my people were, if that's what he was asked, right? He was asked, how would you react if your children or grandchildren were kidnapped by Hamas and underwent the same atrocities many Israelis experienced October 7th? I would say I would act very much the same way as you did. You would have to be crazy not to. Only a fool would not do that. That was a horrible attack. That's Trump. And I thought it was the right response for the right thing is, what's the word? Appropriate. Everything was appropriate about what he was saying. Reasonable. And yet also that space for, like I said on Tuesday, I believe, a couple of days ago when I played the clip with Trump and all that, it was that mature, what am I trying to point out here? When he was saying like, you got to finish it up. Okay. Let me see where I have it. Hold on. He was asked, we've seen a major rise in anti-Semitic attacks since October 7th. What are you going to do about it? Trump responded, well, that's because you fought back. And I love that because it's like, there's no such thing as anti-Semitism. There's no isms. This is man versus man, ego versus ego, answer and response. When blacks and whites lived close and they've had their ups and their downs and this and that happened. And so Hector down the road says, I'm not going to live in that area because there's black people there. That's not racism. That's answer and response. Man versus man. The stories thus far. That's what that is, right? That's just the story thus far. And I'm mad at this and now you're mad at that. And I'm thinking this and you're thinking that. Well, that's because you fought back, he says. No such thing as anti-Semitism. He says you got to finish it up. You got to finish it up. It's time to... where was it? Let me pull it up. These photos and shots, he says, Israel made a big mistake. It's a terrible portrait for the world. The world is seeing this. Every night I would watch buildings pour down on people. He's asked, but terrorists are hiding in those buildings. Go and do what you have to do, Trump says. So right. That's just correct. You got to do what you got to do if I was you. But, he says, but you don't do that, right? I think that's one of the reasons there's been a lot of kickback. If people didn't see that every single night, I think Israel wanted to show it. It's tough, but, sometimes you shouldn't be doing that, he says. About this, you got to understand why you wouldn't want to wish this on someone. And, there are terrorists hiding in those buildings. But you don't do that, Trump says. You do what you got to do, but there's levels to this. Okay, where was I? I'm a little lost here. 888-775-3773. I like what he said there. No such thing as anti-Semitism. You have to finish up your war. You finish it up. You got to get it done. Because you got to get to peace. We can't have this thing going on. I was saying this week, I don't see anybody. There's no... Where in the world, in the media, in the world stage, in politicians, anywhere do you see any roadblocks, actual blocks to this runaway train of war? Well, I knew the answer then. I had not said that I knew. Trump, obviously. Trump. We got to get to peace. We can't have this going on. I sincerely believe that he really wants that peace. I will say Israel has to be very careful. You're losing a lot of the world, he says. You're losing a lot of support. You have to finish up. You have to get the job done. We have to get on to a normal life for Israel and for everybody else. Right on, Mr. President. And I'm getting that. I'm This is the transcript here, if you wanted to see. Israel Hayom speaking with Trump there. Fascinating. What else do I want to say about this? I'm bringing this up because they're talking about genocide. And you might find some of this information interesting on that word. Genocide. Who's seen Hotel Rwanda? Who's seen that movie? Don Cheadle. But we'll get to that. Who's getting the Trump Bible? The Trump Bible. Where, that's not fair to call it that. Where it's a retelling of the story of Jesus, but with Trump in it. No, that's not what it is. But that would be nice. I'd buy that too. And I wouldn't think that'd be blasphemous, by the way, personally speaking. It wouldn't be the story of Jesus, it'd be the story of Trump, but a retelling of Jesus' story, but with different characters, you're using Trump. Now, some might call that blasphemous even. But this is the Son of God. Some might think I'm blasphemous for saying that. You're saying Trump, the Son of God? That's the Son of God. You know, some might say that's like really crazy too. And I think that's a little silly. Christians who, a comparison like that, some get all like this. Some get all like, I almost shouldn't say this. The reason I stop myself is because maybe people won't understand. But sometimes, like people will say, like compare Jesse to Jesus. Okay, people will think that I'm trying to say Jesse's Jesus or something, or that I'm not. I shouldn't have said this because I don't even know what I'm trying to say. All I'm trying to say is that that there are Christians who get real cagey. They real tense with any with comparing Jesus to anybody, any earthly person or anything like that, or you know, it's like as if they can't handle any. I guess what I'm trying to say is that Christians put Jesus on a level that it seems like maybe he shouldn't be there. And I'm sure maybe you've heard this before, but it kind of it blocks us as individuals from understanding certain things, I think. That's all I'm trying to say, okay? The Trump Bible, who's getting one? I'm bringing it up because I was thinking it might be funny. This might be a funny bit. You know, all this Trump merch, the hat, the Bible. I wonder if years from now, if they'll call it like Nazi memorabilia. I wonder if they'll classify it as such too. You know, isn't that like illegal? Is it illegal to have Nazi memorabilia? Nazi memorabilia. Legality. Google, help us out here. Nazi symbol ban. In Germany, it's not. Nazi symbol ban. It looks like in some states it's okay. See, we still have some freedom in America. Nice. Right on, America. It's my American right to buy and sell Nazi memorabilia. You would be judging me and reading my mind, thinking you know what I think. Should I do something like that? Simply a business transaction. Feds, none of your business. Don't know which states though. I'm just doing some cursory research. I know in Germany it's not allowed, but imagine that. I'm keeping all my Trump merch. One day I'll be like 80 years old. Headline, 80-year-old man jailed for trying to sell his stash of Nazi memorabilia. And of course, this will be like 80 years later. This will be like, or maybe less, 60 years later. This will be like a whole bunch of decades later. The definition of Nazi will have changed. It just means Trump at this point. Nazi memorabilia. Why would it be considered Nazi? Tomas asks. You don't see this. You don't see the connection that, for example, Biden, Democrats, and others try to make between Trump, white nationalism, MAGA, making America great again. They say great again for who? You're trying to bring back what? The white racists, the Ku Klux Klan, when it was only great for white people? You see, the whole time from the get-go, that's what they've been trying to charge Trump with. And they connect this with Nazis and all this, right? Nationalism, just putting your country first, America first. That's it's got Nazi vibes, they say. So where were we? Shall we move on here? 888-775-3773. Okay. I got something for you here. Who's seen Hotel Rwanda? I was watching the opening scenes of that movie. I'd never seen it. Don Cheadle with a, I don't know what kind of accent, African accent. It's an umbrella term, right? Whatever accent Don Cheadle had in Hotel Rwanda falls under that umbrella term. I think that's a fair statement. An African, some sort of African accent. Yeah, Don Cheadle. About that genocide. About that big, they say it was a big old genocide. Or it was a genocide that was thwarted. Wasn't a full-on genocide, I guess. The Tutsis versus the Hutus tribes. They othered each other. There was a lot of othering going on. Cheadle. Yeah. Yeah. You are men. I'm trying to think of another movie where they spoke in that way, but I'm thinking of the wrong movie, not Hotel Rwanda. It was Blood Diamond. Blood Diamond. You have to take it. If you do not get the respect you deserve, you have to take it by shedding their blood. Repeat after me. Shed their blood. Okay, that's not Hotel Rwanda, but look, if Don Cheadle, an American, can do an accent, I'm allowed to do that, an accent, okay? Don't get mad at me. Okay, shed their blood. Okay, if Don Cheadle's allowed, I'm allowed. Okay, don't look at me like that. If you do not get the respect you deserve, you will take it. I don't really know much about this, okay, Rwanda and the genocide, but I was doing some research because it was a word and term coming up on my show a lot. They're saying, Nick, that's a genocide. 30,000 women, children. I don't know if it's women and children dead. In Israel, that's a genocide, man. And, I personally, I don't know if it's a genocide. It might be ethnic cleansing. I don't know. Look, it's a removal of people, a razing down of a city, like to the ground. It's a cleansing of an ethnicity from an area. Maybe that's ethnic cleansing. And it might be a military reality and a military necessity. I'll leave that open. It could be that, in some cases here, Israel has gone too far. It could very well be, I like Trump said, his wisdom there. You got to finish it, man. You got to finish it right away because, some things you just don't do. And you could very well be going into that area. It's war. War is atrocious. It's a horrible thing. But where was I? They're talking about genocide. They say I leave all that space. Callers. This is to the callers, I guess, who don't like that I'm not taking a side or something. I leave all this space. I leave all this space for Israel, possible atrocities from Israel's side. Hey, but I hear nothing from my callers and people on, but they hide away their terrorists in hospitals. They hide them away. So when I hear nothing from you guys on that, my internal sensors go off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my internal spidey senses go off. Like, there's evil afoot, and the evil of the mind and emotions, irrespective of the facts. Okay, you get me. You guys get me. So they're talking about genocides. And I look it up, and the first thing that comes up invariably is this Hotel Rwanda stuff. I guess the most famous. Yeah, they got the movies. It's, I guess, the most famous of the genocides. Hutu extremists assassinated the country's moderate Hutu president by shooting his plane out of the sky. Wow, I didn't know that. And then immediately unleashed a campaign of mass slaughter against Rwanda's Tutsis, seeking to completely exterminate that 15% minority population. Wow. Inflamed by genocidal radio broadcasts, Hutu mobs, often armed merely with simple machetes, soon killed many hundreds of thousands of Tutsis and moderate Hutus. They even killed their own. Genocide, they say. A rampage that was only halted by the military victory of a rebel Tutsi army led by the heroic Paul Kagame. Huh. This is all interesting things. And I see your calls. Hold on. Hold on, folks. Hold on. Appreciate your calls, number one. Please, some patience. 888-775-3773. I will get to you. I'm being informed that according to the chat, you have super chats that are not popping up. Is that so? Not popping up? I only have one super chat from Carver earlier. And I don't see anything else. Folks, if you're trying to super chat me, I really don't know what's going on. So yeah, I appreciate the support though. Callers, patience. I'll be right with you. We're talking about Hotel Rwanda, the genocide of Rwanda. There were, they had the radio broadcasts. Rampage was halted by a hero, Paul Kagame, who reunified his ethnically divided country. He governed it since then, anyways. The world had the movies. Okay, they had the movies. They established an international tribunal to prosecute the Hutu leaders of that African genocide. I mean, these are things that happen, right? These are things I found out in my research here. It's a big genocide. I got the world was watching, right? It seems from what I was reading about. Most of this early reporting on this Tutsi genocide came from this journalist named 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎, whose series on long New Yorker articles later became the basis of his award-winning 1998 bestseller. In my research, I learned about this Samantha Power. She's someone who wrote a book that really, apparently, put this on the world stage on another level. The months and years that followed, journalists reacted with outrage. One journalist decided to write a long book on the genocides of the previous 100 years. That work became a huge bestseller, attracting enormous attention and eventually having an important impact on global public policy. Samantha Power was then in her mid-20s, a naturalized Irish immigrant who had graduated from Yale and was working as an overseas war correspondent. She and many others were outraged that no American officials had resigned in protest over their government's lack of action over Rwanda. Samantha Power. Let me see if I can show you a picture. This woman's book. One woman and her emotional plea. Maybe that's an unfair characterization. But Samantha Power, she even got the attention of the United Nations. We love the United Nations, right? They're so not evil. Okay, where was I? Samantha Power. Okay, hold on. And I appreciate the calls. Just a little more patience. Be right with you. So Samantha Power. The no government resigned. She's mad about that. She wrote this book. She was inspired to write a paper on this subject. It got the attention of the UN. Hold on, I'm trying to find my place here in this article. The Rwandan genocide. Okay, here it is. It's called Responsibility to Protect. You may have never heard of this, but I found this very interesting. It's very rare that a single book changes the world, but Samantha Power's blockbuster achieved that notable distinction, promoting the legal principle of responsibility to protect, a phrase that became so ubiquitous it was soon abbreviated as R2P. A unanimous 2005 vote of the UN General Assembly later endorsed that new international doctrine, which obligated America and other major world powers to protect citizens around the world who were threatened with massacre or genocide at the hands of any government, thereby seeming to authorize military intervention. What you might not understand is the UN was put together on this basis that sovereignty is so important. You can't go around telling countries what to do. You can't go around messing around with the domestic affairs of countries. So that was a central tenet. Then, all of a sudden, this genocide happens, and the world is all emotional, and the UN says, you know what? Nope. We can never let this ever happen ever again. So countries of the world, nations of the world, you must intervene should a hint of this ever happen. You understand the big change in mentality here? Protecting the responsibilities of the state, international assistance and capacity building, timely and decisive collective response. These are the pillars of this responsibility to protect, this reshaping of international law, if you will. What I'm trying to point out, if you've maybe fell asleep, maybe you find this part interesting. What I'm trying to point out is that the word genocide has been a political game. It's been a political game ever since Rwanda. And anyone throwing around that word should set off your internal spidey sense. Going like, what's this person really getting at? Does this person really care about what they're talking about? Politician or otherwise. Genocide is a word used by governments and thrown around for political reasons, okay? It's been like that since Rwanda. You get it. Okay? So, yeah. You see what I'm saying, folks? The UN cares. Nick, look up Christian genocide. Look at all the countries Islam is actively working to kill all Christians. Ask the next moron calling about Palestine about them. Interesting. Reese's vids. Nick, look up Christians. Yeah, I mean, to play devil's avocado, I mean, they could be separate things, right? They're all separate things, right? Christians can be persecuted in Muslim countries, and Israel can go. The possibility is there. The reality exists for Israel to go too far with some civilians, I guess. I don't know. I'm with Trump on that. Just finish it. You got to do what you got to do. Finish it up, and we need peace. I'm with Trump. So I'm just playing devil's avocado, Reese's vids. I'll say this though, to anyone calling in about this or that group, Palestine. What about this, Nick? I find more often than not that most people talking about these things are not. They're not talking about anything that matters. They're emotional, and they're not someone you should trust. Okay, there are real things to talk about here. Anyways, what shall we do now? Shall we take a call? 888-775-3773. Kevin, New York, you're on the air.
Hey, what's up, Nick? How you doing?
All is well, Kevin. Thanks for your call.
All right. Hey, man, what you said about Trump and Jesus earlier, I heard that. I'm like, man, that's blasphemy. Oh man, but I'm not judging you for it. Lord
Thank
knows
you.
I've most likely said something that's blasphemous at one time or another. So no judgment there.
Thank you for not judging me, man. Well, what do you say is blasphemous about it?
Oh, well, because, if... I mean, not to come off arrogant about this, because I've said this repeatedly, that I've constantly checked myself to make sure I'm not getting puffed up by this information that I'm taking in.
Okay.
But I feel like if you're talking to someone like me, you've got more of a full story about just how great Jesus is and the things that he's done. Before I even continue talking about that, I mean, it has to be known that, of course, all that we think that we can find out about Jesus is just in the New Testament. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and Revelation. Do you know what I mean? There's actually more to that, because I actually found this out just recently, which was very interesting. Even those 4 books that talk about Jesus' life, biblical scholars, someone correct me if I'm wrong, say that even those 4 books cover Jesus' life from around the ages of when he was 30 to about 33 when he was crucified on the cross. But the interesting thing is that there's a lot more to find out about Jesus than even that. What I've harped upon in the past about the Apocrypha. Even then, there's things that you can find out about his childhood and things that other prophets have said about him. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So you've learned a lot more about his life and all that. And you learned more about Jesus himself. What have you learned?
Well,
what is it that's you said all this has allowed you to see how great he is. How great is he? What makes him so great?
Well, of course, everybody knows Jesus as the Son of God. He is exactly that. If I were to be out there telling people a message, this is where it slightly differs. It differs from what even Jesse says, meaning that men on earth aren't necessarily the Son of God.
Oh.
You know what I mean? We should see ourselves more as children of God. You see what I mean?
What's the difference?
Therein comes well, the difference is because it's the very meanings behind what we've been taught by Jesus himself, meaning that there comes in the concept of being born again. Children only come through being born. And Jesus was once asked by his disciples, what kind of people are in heaven? And Jesus points to the nearest children that he can find. And Jesus says that my kingdom is comprised of people like these.
And these people are like what?
Children. Literally children.
But you said those people can't know.
That,
but you said those people can't be the sons of God.
Not understood as the sons of God, but it should be understood as the children of God instead, because that's where it brings more clarity to the concept of being born again.
And what's that
Do you see
clarity?
what I mean?
And what is that clarity? What can I understand better about being born again by calling myself a child of God as opposed to a son of God?
That's a really, really good question.
You brought it up.
I'm just making that. I guess
You brought
I'm
it
just
up.
making that distinction. Yeah, you're right. you're right. It's now that I took a moment to think about it, it's just that clear distinction that I'm trying to make between Jesus and then the rest of us.
I see that now. And I think I was kind of seeing that it was this, what's important, it seems to me, and what you're saying is what's important to you is that distinction, really. But that but then you said that distinction gives you some insight into your life and being born again, but you're unclear on what that distinction is and what that insight is exactly, what it helps in understanding. So I find that interesting. But why do you find it so important then to make this distinction between us and Jesus and being a son of God? That it's something that we can't do, it's something that we are not, and it's something that only Jesus is. Why is that an important distinction? Or, you know what, before I ask that, you've made that conclusion and that distinction, you say, because of Jesus' own words, you say.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, absolutely.
And so, yeah, help me understand that part. You concluded that because, yeah, like you said, you said you read this. You read this in the Bible / maybe Apocrypha?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You know, we can take a lot of things that we already know that Jesus did and bring more clarity to it, especially the very act of dying on the cross. That is more explained in things like the Gospel of Nicodemus or the martyrdom of Isaiah the prophet. Because what I mean by it brought more clarity is because even in the martyrdom of Isaiah the prophet, Isaiah is saying that God showed him the very reason of Jesus coming here in the first place, which is what we already know. But he did even more than that. And what I mean is he actually saved people from hell. And what this tells me is that there was literally no escape from hell until Jesus actually made that sacrifice for us. You know what I mean? And that's where Jesse really hits it on the head that, you know, Satan became the woman's god. He sort of misses the mark with that, because the only difference that I have to say about that is that not only did Satan become the woman's god, he became our God, meaning everybody, from the very disobedience that happened in the garden.
I see.
Do you see where I'm going with that?
Sorta.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorta.
So what I'm literally telling you is that
so why do you find that important? To see the distinction between Jesus and you and being born again?
Well, only because
I'm still unclear as to what you read that proved it to you, that Jesus said that proved it, that he meant that he didn't mean for us to be sons of God. That's what you're saying, right? You're saying only he could be the son of God.
Yeah. In a sense, I am saying that, and that the things that Jesus both did and said are, in a sense, impossible for us.
All right, so let me try and go ahead, finish that up.
But then we should only see ourselves as, if we were to call ourselves anything, call ourselves the children of God, to make that distinction, because then it may bring more clarity to the concept of the necessity of being born again.
And so, to become born again as a child, okay, so let's try and nail this down, if you'll allow me. Thank you. What's the difference? Do you still have to forgive? Do you see what I'm saying? It's by saying that you can't be sons of God, that you're not a son of God, only Jesus is the son of God, that you're just a child of God. What's the difference in my life? What do I do different to be born again? You see, what does that change?
Well, that's very, very good questions because, I mean, just as I've come to understand all of these other things, I really do tend to think that there's a lot of things that we can't even control, except to be honest with ourselves.
So you don't know?
Well, you named one of them already. Of course, we have to go and forgive. You know what I mean? And what is our responsibility for the individual to do, which is minimal. That's one of the things that absolutely has to happen, forgiveness.
And okay, so that was my first question on what's the difference between what kind of life, what's changes in my life if I'm to be a child of God as opposed to a son of God. I mean, it sounds like you don't know, but one thing you do know is forgiveness.
Yeah.
And
yeah, absolutely.
okay. All right. And then my second question was, which is, again, can you tell me how is it that you? Because you're saying you know this because of something Jesus said, because of something you read that Jesus said, and that's why you know that we are not meant to be the sons of God. So help me again. What is that again? What's your proof? I guess.
Well, my proof was just literally. In the I forget exactly where it's located in the Bible, but it's the point that Jesus' disciples had asked Jesus, what does your kingdom comprise of? And Jesus points or picks out a child and says that my kingdom is comprised of children. You know what I mean? And what does nature tell us? It tells us that children only come about through birth. And just understanding that, I'm trying to show that it brings more clarity to.
But don't you see it's not clear at all? You don't see that that's so unclear? You went a big old circle to say what?
Just that.
To say what?
I mean, you're making me realize that it's intellectual stuff.
Yeah, because think about it.
In a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
you're saying...
It seems simple to...
Well, like you read something that said, my kingdom is comprised of children. And that means that we are children and not sons of God, and that's something deep to you? Like what... I'm not trying to... This is not a personal attack, but you got to understand that... and this is not me saying that I'm deep and so insightful, but I'm saying, man, like there is an answer to life. I think there is an answer to the questions we have in life, and that you might think that's deep, but that sounds very shallow. What's the understanding there? And the reason why I'm making an example of you right now, Kevin, if you'll allow me to, I appreciate that, is because we all do this. We all do this. I do this, and what's the for example, what's the purpose of my show, Bond Network? If there's anything we're trying to do? Yeah, we talk about the news, we talk about many things, we're all discovering many things in our lives. But if there's some fundamental things, in my opinion, that Bond is trying to point out is the mind. And so do you see how there is no connection between my kingdom is comprised of children, and that means that I'm not the son of God? Do you see there's no logical conclusion there? How did you arrive to that? How did you get there? Help me the step by step, because I'm telling you, I think you got there by the darkness of the mind.
Well, no. It's a consistency that I see, because I don't know if I've said it enough. Maybe I haven't said it enough, but it's the very reasoning that I tried to find for myself. What is the meaning behind the Son of God telling us that we need to be born again?
Yeah, and it sounds like you don't... My bad. Go ahead.
The very first time that seemed to have came out of Jesus' mouth, the disciples asked Jesus something vain, like, how is it possible for a person already being born out of their mother's womb to be born again? You know what I mean?
And the answer is?
Well, the answer is it's not possible for a person who was already born by their mother to be born again, but that's not what Jesus meant. He meant being born as in the transformation of the heart that can only come from God.
Right, but how does that preclude you from calling yourself the son of God? And there is no difference, and you haven't quite explained the difference, and your conclusion comes from a interpretation of words you read. And I think what's deeper here is the insanity of interpreting words you read. I think that's more insightful and truthful to what's going on here than anything you've said about, I don't know what you're even saying at this point.
No, I think it's a simple, and to me,
Look, no, hold on. Let's keep it simple.
Interpretation that nature tells me that
nature tells us children can. Well, you guess something else that nature tells us. In nature, there's only sons and daughters. There's nothing else. Under the umbrella term children, what do you have? There's only two types of children, sons and daughters. So under that same logic, under the auspices of nature, then do you see what I'm trying to point out here, Kevin? I don't want to take up all your time here. Thank you for donating your time here, but you see what I'm trying to point out? That although what you're talking about might be interesting, I think what's way more interesting is insane interpretations. Look, you called in saying when Jesus said that my kingdom is comprised of children, it means that he doesn't want us to be sons of God. He wants us to be children of God. Help me understand, what does that even matter? What is the insight? You haven't quite explained how that even matters. Why would God even want me to know that? It doesn't quite make sense, man. I'm sorry if I'm not being clear.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But I guess I hate to make it sound all corny and everything, but
yeah.
I guess I'm just simply saying that if you see someone who is truly born again, then they're childlike. They have a childlike innocence. And I guess that's what you can expect out of those who will truly reach the kingdom of heaven that Jesus spoke of.
I got you on that, man. Well, I can't disagree with that, Kevin.
Yeah.
Always some food for thought, sir. Anything else you want to say before we move the wheels?
No, not at all. It was an interesting talk. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you so much. Call me again. All
right. Have a good one.
Right on. Right on. Call me 888-775-3773. I mean, I'm not saying I know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to, but my senses, my spidey senses are going off. You know, I'm trying to point out. I mean, I have the words for it, but I see the movements of the spirit, or something. I don't know. I see the bobs and weaves Satan's doing, I think. I got Robert, Kansas. Appreciate your call. You're on the air.
Hey, Nick, how you Trump supporting West Hollywood folks doing out there?
Yeah. Hollywood and up and still rolling with Trump.
Yeah.
Loving it. How you doing, sir?
Well, hey, you know, I mean, the thing about Trump, Nick, real quick, I know I called in about something else.
Yeah, no problem.
The one thing about Trump is that all the good people that I know, they love Trump. Right?
Yeah.
And so for me, you know, it's like literally like the good people, like all the best people I know, they all love Trump. And I'm sitting there going, guys, you know, don't put all your hopes into that because, you know.
Hope into what?
If it doesn't, well, just, you know, if it doesn't work out, let's say Trump isn't what he, you know, seems to be, then, you know, maybe you got to put your hope into something else. So that's all.
Oh, but I'm not telling people to put hope in anything. I'd say that's a mistake from the get-go.
Well,
putting this hope.
You know,
so I'm not here saying you should put any kind of hope into a person. I think that's where you go wrong from the get-go, putting hope into someone.
Well, no, sir.
I see a lot of Trump supporters doing that, and they're putting hope in this person, and not working on their own lives, not appreciating the gift they were given to see that there are things that are wrong going on in the country and within themselves, and instead of working on it as an individual, they're just like, I don't know, we'll just wait for Trump to do it. So that's the problem with hope.
Yeah, and maybe Trump helps them see something that they didn't see before, and then, so maybe, in some ways, maybe Trump is good, and I really hope that he is, and I hope, and, when these good people, like I say, like the people
if there's any hope you should have is you better hope everybody votes for him.
That's,
if there's a hope you want to have, if there's a hope you're going to have, if you're going to have a hope, I hope everybody votes for Trump.
Maybe they
because he's your last. Although you shouldn't have hope in a person or hope in so many things. Sorry to cut you off. He still remains the great white hope and possibly America's last hope.
I called it about Islam. But he definitely
You're welcome to talk about this though if you like. We can talk about Islam after.
He's the great Jewish hope for sure.
Why do you say that?
The great white hope. Well,
he's great for Jewish people. Absolutely, he's great for all people. He's like he said he was like he said in that interview. I was the greatest president for Israel, the greatest, or something. I forget how he says it, but he's the best president for Jews. Absolutely,
well,
I agree.
I put that up against George Bush or Barack Obama.
Yeah, but he's not like George Bush or Barack Obama at all. He's an individual.
The greatest president for Israel, George Bush, Barack Obama. It's pretty.
Yeah, but that's different. Trump is the greatest president for Israel because he's like the best for all people. Peace.
Well. Hey, Mr. Trump. I mean, I don't know who.
So what's your point, though? What's your gripe? What's your point? Is there anything you want to say about? Is there any point you want to make about it?
About what, sir?
About your disapproval of Trump, or is there any point you want to make that we can talk about?
I just know that,
because you're just saying if he may not be what he sees. Is there anything you want to say that we could talk about? Any point you want to make?
Well,
he may not be what he seems.
Okay, Nick. Well, you gonna let me talk, man? Or?
My bad. I was having fun. Go ahead. We got time. So no rush. You got nowhere to be, right? You got nowhere to be, right?
No, sir, I don't, and I appreciate you having me on.
Hey,
Nick,
thank you.
Well, but you know who Hake is, right?
Yes, sir.
And so Hake is like a really good guy. Like he's not like us, Nick, right? Like he's a really good guy.
What do you mean? What do you mean,
us?
That's
what I mean.
I'm not entirely sure what you mean. No, I'm not entirely sure what you mean because the premise already is a little strange. No man is good.
No, what I'm saying.
But if anyone is good.
No, but hey, he really loves Trump, right? And that's the thing is what I'm saying, Nick, is that there's everybody I know who's a really good person, they love Trump.
Nice.
And that what I want these good people to understand is that if he does not deliver you unto this, sort of heaven on earth that you might expect him to do.
But you're lumping in Hake with a whole bunch of people. You're lumping in Hake with a whole bunch of. You're lumping in Hake with a. Hold on. You're lumping in Hake with a whole bunch of people who have hopes and desires. What a bunch of losers! You think Hake is a loser like that? Who actually putting? Who you think Hake is putting his hope and desires into another person like that? I'd be surprised if that was Hake. You're lumping in Hake with a bunch of losers. You're saying all these good people, all the best people I know support Trump. But just so you know, if you don't get the heaven and earth, you think Hake is thinking Trump is going to give him heaven and earth? Only a loser's thinking that. Only a loser's thinking another man is going to give you heaven and earth.
I was just trying to differentiate the type of character.
I like what you said about good people who. You're right. You really are right about that. Some of the best. I know what you mean by that, man, and I'm not trying to be ignorant about that. I seems like I know what you mean by that. Yeah, it really does seem like the best people support Trump, like good. Even if, so go on. I'll let you finish. My bad. Thank you for your patience.
Well, hey Nick, I mean, hey brother, it's your show, and I hope you keep up the good work and expand, keep going, bro. but my point to you was that people like Hake who are, in that way different from us that are maybe not like Hake, that we would, question things differently than him. So
you don't have to, but you don't have to beat around the bush. Speak freely, sir. We're free men talking. What do you mean? You're saying not like us, not like him, questioning what? What do you mean?
Well, and we've got on
because maybe you think something that's not true. So let's clear it up.
Absolutely, I'm sure I do. But the point of what I called about, Nick, was that
I'll let you get to the point. What were you alluding to? And I'm not even following at this point. Speak freely. You said that we're not like Hake. You and I, we're not like Hake. That we question. What do you mean? What do you mean? Speak freely.
Well, no, just the differences that we might have between us as certain personalities, right?
Yeah. What do you mean? What differences do you think that we share that is different from Hake?
Well, whatever they may be, Nick, it's just that there are differences between people, and my point is that that all the good people do really like Trump, and that I want them to understand that maybe that where that is coming from is not necessarily that Trump is what they think that he is. Now, do I hope that he is? I do. But if he turns out... You're not saying
anything, Robert. I'm giving you the space and freedom. I'm giving you all you have this energy about you, and please don't take this personally. Don't take this personally. I have no problem with you, Robert. You're always welcome to. You called my show before. Well, you have this energy of I'm censoring my words because I don't want to say, and I'd rather. I'm giving you all the space and freedom to say what you want to say here. You're saying if Trump doesn't turn out to be what we think, well, what do you think he is? What do you think he is?
I think he's a Democrat. Like he's a Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, George Soros. Like he really is the same sort of class of person that is, and that he is playing a WWE type World Wrestling Federation part where he is the good guy being compared to Hitler, being compared to all the other bad people in history where they're trying to take his property and they're trying to do him wrong in terms of a theatrical presentation in the news and the media you see all around us, right, Nick? Because
now we're having a conversation. Well, I'm following you, Robert. Well, why do you say that?
I say that because if Trump is legitimate, then he will have been taken down in terms of his properties or whatever. And if he is not, then he will somehow miraculously escape all the legal and prosecutorial type theater that you are being presented with in terms of a media analyst like yourself and your network, right? Mm-hmm. That you see all of this and that is a presentation to you, just like a play or a theater, a movie that you would be presented with, except in real life, where you are now seeing that, this poor man is a victim of the deep state and he is being persecuted, and now we must vote for him. When if you are sophisticated enough to know that the people in charge are very intelligent and they have planned these sort of contingencies out for years and decades and millennia before, such that you would know that controlled opposition is everything, right? Like it is.
So if Trump is controlled opposition, what is the move?
The move,
for example, in the war, if he's controlled opposition, what would the controlled opposition do right now? Support Israel?
Well, they have a 6-pointed star on a white
No, I
flag.
asked you a question. Yeah,
I mean,
what would, in your estimation, what would be move here, if I was controlled opposition, if I was Trump and I was controlled opposition, am I supporting Israel or no?
Okay, well, I can tell you what the not controlled opposition is. It's called Candace Owens.
That's not what I asked
right
you.
Now,
I don't think you
right
really
now,
want to have a conversation with me, Robert.
Alex Jones
Do you not want to have a
CIA.
conversation with me? I don't think you really want to talk with me.
No, sir.
In fact,
Hey,
you're not even talking to me right now. You're just saying what you want to say.
No, Nick, shut up. I'm gonna shut up. I'm sorry.
Oh, my bad. My bad. I misheard you. I misheard you.
No. You're right all the time, Nick.
All right, Robert. Hey, man, I appreciate your call.
Oh, you're hanging up?
Yeah. Call me again, man. We'll pick this up another day. How about that? Call me again, sir.
All right, Nick. You have a good day, brother.
Right
I'll
on.
see you. Bye.
I mean, I think we hashed that out as much as we could, right? We hashed that out as much as we could, as fairly as we could there, in my opinion, truthfully. In the spirit of having a conversation about it. You know what I'm saying? When I say, here's my thing. When I see someone prostrate, I think, you want to be on the ground? You want to be on the ground and act like that? Then go be an animal. Why are we having an adult conversation? You know what I'm saying? You know what prostrate means? Do you know what prostrate? Am I using that correctly? Doesn't that mean to to be in a certain position? Look, what I'm trying to say is that whole no, you're right, whatever you want. It's like, all right. I don't need to decipher I don't need to do that on air. Decipher the little intricacies of someone who's on one. We got more callers. Darren, Texas, on the air. Go ahead.
Hold on. I have my phone on speaker.
No problem. What's up?
Very interesting conversation. Can you hear me?
Hey, what's up, Darren? How you doing?
I'm doing well. All is well. I was going to talk about the assignment, but the conversation actually led me to think about something.
Yeah.
It says drop morals and values, and it kind of goes with it.
Okay.
What I noticed about people that don't support Trump is they desire conspiracy. They desire in conspiracy, and they like lacking trust. They like to have that feeling of I just can't trust anyone, and I feel intellectual and woke because of it.
What makes you feel woke? You said?
No, the people who don't, they delve into the conspiracy of the government and not loving Trump, and they hate Trump, and they think that there's a bigger scheme going on with him.
Yeah,
I feel like people, they can't see the truth because they desire conspiracy, and they feel woke because they don't trust the government or anybody that's trying to fix America. Anybody in that position.
Yeah. I just I'm not sure what it is. I just know that I don't know. I just know some very simple things like the Spirit of God is clear. Like I think I know that one. I think that one's true. So I may not know all the things he's talking about, but I know the truth is like clear. So all this confusion and double speak and all that is enough for me. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. Like it was Bible Thumping Thursday today, right?
Yes, sir.
I kind of want to go to the Bible. I don't know the scripture, like the verse and all that stuff, but I know that this is in the Bible. It says in the Old Testament, "Do not call conspiracy what they call conspiracy, and do not fear what they fear, but fear God, fear the Lord." And I feel like those people, they find so much value in feeling woke and intellectual that they can't see truth, and when someone's actually trying to be helpful, when they're in their face telling them the truth. And that guy just gave me an idea of that because he just sounds so intellectual, and he didn't want to listen.
Yeah. Intellectual, big time. Yeah, because there's criticisms to be had. And I can't even think of anything specific right now. But I'm following. Yeah, you're saying it came off as totally intellectual to you.
Yeah, I mean, I understood what he was saying, but people like that, because I have conversations with people like that all the time because election is coming up, and I tend to talk about that. And the people who don't support Trump, it's like the same argument. Like they regurgitate what they've been hearing off of CNN, off of MSNBC. They regurgitate what these woke podcasts are saying and all that other stuff, but they never really have a thought for themselves or have an individual mindset and see it for what it is. It's all a lie that they're saying.
Yeah. Maybe they got to drop their morals. They got to watch Joel's episode today.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree. Big time. Amazing.
The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about, just to hear your ideas of what did you do the assignment? Like,
I've been trying.
Hey, if you like to tell me.
Well, say again?
What have you been noticing? If you would like to tell me what you've been noticing, what have you been noticing about, dropping your morals and values?
That I can't.
You can't?
Oh, I've noticed a number of things, I guess. I'm not sure if I fully thought it out, but I just noticed, for example, at the beginning, I found it difficult to do that, to just drop morality. I found out that the morality had me in a sense, or you see what I'm trying to say? Like, and what I'm trying to describe is I was literally just trying to drop seeing things as right and wrong. I was just trying to drop that in my mind, I guess. I was trying to drop seeing something as right or wrong, and I found myself unable to, and so in that I'm pondering what's going on inside, and I'm like, wait, how come? I'm thinking to myself, it's a belief I have, it's a morality of mine. Why can't I just drop it? I seem to drop it at other times when I don't want to, and so I'm not sure what to make of it to be honest with you, but I'm thinking about it, and I'm here wondering how come I can't drop this. You would think I would just be able to decide that. There's a number of things I've been thinking of since paying attention to this assignment. I've thought to myself, it's interesting how before the assignment, here I am trying to have this morality, but has it done any good? Am I this moral person? You know what I mean? So now that now I'm hearing people say, wait, what am I going to do, Jesse, if I drop my morality? I'm going to go pure evil. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a second. It's not like with my morality, I'm good. So that's something I thought of. So I really don't know what to make of it, but those are the things that have come up. What do you think so far?
Baby.
But yeah, big time on.
Morals?
Say again. Sorry, you said what?
What are morals?
What are they? A belief, something I was taught. That's all I really know. That's all I really know. That's all I really know for sure. Is a moral is something I was taught so far.
Could you be taught something evil?
Yeah, I think so. We're taught evil.
So are morals good or evil?
I don't know. Evil. I don't know.
I believe that they're evil. I believe that everybody's morals are evil, and so when you're dropping your morals, you're actually dropping something good. So it's like it's good that you drop your morals.
Like we're in church. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's good. I'm gonna end up coming out there. It's good
man.
that we drop our morals, and our values are the same thing of our morals, but it's more. We're not taught that. It's something that we have within us that we develop on our own, based off of what we receive from either our mama, either Big Daddy, either boyfriend, girlfriend. Like we receive those things, and then we call those values. And so when we drop them, I feel like it's a good thing.
Man,
That's interesting that you say that. I noticed because I'm not. Go ahead.
Please go ahead. My bad.
I noticed that when I drop my morals, I end up talking on Joel's podcast, and I was the last person. It was amazing, and I ended up saying that what I noticed was that nobody's good, and that it helped me just simply let it happen and let stuff happen and let me feel stupid and make me feel angry. It lets me feel embarrassed. It lets me feel, super horny. It lets me just feel all of those things and just go through it, because I feel like, fighting it is based off of me feeling as if it's morally right to fight what I'm feeling. Like, if I feel scared, it feels morally right to say, "Oh, Lord, help me. Get me out of this, Jesus. I plead the blood of Jesus, the blood of Jesus." I used to be a Bible-thumping Christian. And so it feels morally right to do that when you're scared, instead of just sitting there and just embracing the fear and just dying. And so it's interesting.
No, it truly is. No, it's super interesting. Thank you for that. No, I like that you guys were talking about it too. I appreciated that. No, I appreciate that, because it rings true what you guys are talking about, that there is a learned and taught morality, and there's something that not permanent about it. And as I get older, it seems like I get worse. Where's this morality I was taught? Seems to be maybe just by the function of age itself, it's putting distance between that morality and me. It speaks to the nature of it, like what is it and why, and where does it come from? And so that's what I appreciate about your conversation with him. I've been thinking about, obviously we've all been thinking about morality this week, I'm sure. And I've been thinking about that. I was thinking about being defiled and what Jesus was saying about what defiles you is what comes from out of you, what comes from inside. And when I examine myself, it seems like I'm just like looking at myself and I'm thinking, man, only defiling things come out. Only defiling things come out. But then this assignment came up about dropping morality. So it's interesting. I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah. I appreciate your call, man.
What you're saying,
I'm thinking about being defiled and all that, but
do you get?
And I feel like I was going to say something, but I forgot. Oh well.
When I get defiled, whether I'm cussing at somebody, I'm cussing somebody out, I'm grabbing my girl by her shirt collar, and I'm saying, "Girl, you better listen to me." Whenever I feel defiled of things of that nature, what I tend to do is I just look at and I just let myself go through it, and I feel nasty, and I feel evil, and I feel malicious, and I feel, whatever that demon, that monster is telling me at that moment, I feel it, and I realize that I'm not good. I don't try to tell myself that, oh, it's not me, because eventually I'll start identifying with saying that it's not me. So I just say to myself, I'm not good. I'm just who I am. I'm neither good nor evil, but at this moment right now, I'm not doing something good. That's what it feels like. I just let myself just go through the little hell that's ready. And like I told Joel, it's like there's an end to it. I never realized that, but there's an end to the hell. It doesn't last forever. As long as you stay aware, I feel like you will eventually see an end of it. And then I think that's what Jesse said. That's what Jesse means when he says there's heaven at the end of it. So there's that heaven, that awareness again that is dead.
I got you, Darren. Appreciate that, man.
I don't know.
Fascinating.
You falling asleep? What the?
No, I'm just food for thought, sir. What you said,
yes,
what
sir.
you said
Right.
was all there. What you said it already. Darren, man, anything else you want to say before we move the wheels?
Texas is the best place on earth. We are the lone state. And I'm telling y'all right now, if the federal government don't listen to us, we're going to leave this mug. We're going to leave America, and we're going to become our own country.
Cessation
We're going to start the Confederacy again.
That is hilarious. Right on, Darren.
Yes,
appreciate your call, man. Call me again.
I definitely will.
Thank you, sir. Oh, sorry about that, Darren. All right, folks. That's American Anchor, baby. That's American Anchor, baby. Let's pick this up tomorrow, okay? Let's talk about it all. Calls and everything. 4 p.m. We got a flight. We're going to get into all of it, okay? So call me tomorrow about it. I want to talk more about it. Defiles and all the other things that are on your mind because we got a flight. Don't miss it. I know we got some super chats here. I do appreciate it. So I want to say thanks to Kale Samogi. He says, Nick, do you think Ben Shapiro was wrong for firing Candace Owens? No, I don't personally think he was wrong for that. We really don't know the details in story. So I guess it really depends on the reason. But I'd find it hard. I'd be surprised if I found it as wrong, you know. But there's so much what do we really even know about it? What was the reason? We don't even know the reason. If the reason is you can't say bad things about Israel, I wouldn't even call that wrong. Why are you surprised? Ben Shapiro's Jewish. Why wouldn't he support Israel? How about be normal? All right, not that you're not normal, Kale. Not that you're not normal. Appreciate your super chat. Hake with another super chat says, work. And that's everything, folks. Catch you tomorrow. Well, you'll catch me tomorrow. We'll be together tomorrow for American Anchor Baby, Nick Street Fridays, Anchor Baby Airlines, as always. All right, y'all. Take care. Peace.